You want a real party? Yeah! Truth is, I got a whole barn full of weed. I will call some friends. Don't worry, I'm gonna take care of it. That's Alonzo Fininsky, the Romanian sex trafficker!
South Park just destroyed Andrew Tate in their most brutal episode yet, and it was a full-on cultural assassination. They dragged the self-proclaimed top G straight from Romanian jail cells into cartoon humiliation. This was South Park at its most savage, turning Tate's chaos into a punchline.
We've had some complaints about a party that's been going on for 3 days here.
Hey, what's going on? Oh, alright guys, who ordered the stripper?
Can we come in and look around, sir?
Oh yeah, come on in!
Andrew Tate's life has been nothing short of a train wreck, and South Park didn't just roast him, they torched the entire wreckage and served the ashes as comedy. 3 months in a Romanian jail, locked up with his brother and his so-called angels, no charges filed, just a laundry list of investigations into trafficking, rape, and organized crime.
Oh my god!
Most people would crawl into a hole with that hanging over their heads. Tate, he became primetime cartoon material. South Park saw the chaos, rubbed their hands together, and said, perfect. Let's draw him as a cigar-chomping clown.
I mean, the thing about this story is he gave young men hope, okay? Which is why I don't like him.
And make no mistake, this wasn't a soft jab. The season 26 finale rolled out Alonzo Finesse, bald head shining, cigar glued to his mouth, and all the faux alpha bravado you'd expect. South Park didn't even need to say Andrew Tate. The resemblance was so obvious you could practically hear Tate yelling about Bugattis through the screen. Then came the hammer, police busting in and shouting, "That's Alonzo Finesse, the Romanian sex trafficker." That's not comedy, that's a public execution with animation cells.
With our boys to counteract all the ways in which society has been pathologizing masculinity. I mean, you went balls out on spring break, right? Tried to see chicks' boobs and stuff?
No, I didn't.
Well, no, I mean, you weren't ashamed of being a guy, right? Like, you went out to the lake and tried to play grab ass with girls, right?
But South Park wasn't satisfied with just drawing a cartoon Tate. They wanted to say something about the culture around him, too. That's where Randy Marsh comes in.
The f*** you talking? You know, I'm trying to show my son and his nerdy little friend what a real party is, because society wants them to be ashamed of their masculine natures.
Randy is in the middle of a typical midlife meltdown. He starts echoing Tate-style talking points, ranting about how society is trying to shame men for their natural instincts, and how masculinity itself is being labeled toxic. For anyone who's watched Tate's videos, the parallels are obvious.
No, I can't. I have to stay here because I'm in charge of my son. Today's woke culture has vilified his manhood and made him ashamed of himself.
Okay, sir, but it appears you have a broken arm and several fractured ribs.
Yeah, but I can't leave because my son's natural instincts are being suppressed and it's leading to behavioral problems.
Randy becomes a parody of the Disciples, the guys who latch onto Tate's every word, convinced he's the last voice defending manhood against a world gone soft.
Hey, freeze! You right there! That's Alonzo Fininsky, the Romanian sex trafficker! You big man! Oh! Oh my god! Ah!
And that's what makes the setup so sharp. It isn't just Alonzo Finesse, the Tate stand-in, who gets roasted. It's also the blind loyalty of his followers. Randy thinks he's helping his son and his son's nerdy friend by showing them how real men are supposed to act, by throwing a wild party, by embracing excess. It's ridiculous, but it's exactly how South Park operates. Hold up a mirror, exaggerate the reflection, and let the audience squirm and laugh at the same time.
Stop with that shit. Come on, get into it. Wet t-shirt contest.
Hey, what the f?
What? Hey, you guy.
That's the magic of this episode. It's not just funny because it pokes fun at Tate. It's funny because it blurs the line between reality and satire so tightly that it's hard to tell where the news ends and the cartoon begins. South Park didn't just parody Tate. They captured the absurdity of his situation and the absurdity of the culture that surrounds him. And that's why for so many people, this wasn't just another episode. It was one of the most brutal takedowns they've seen in years.
Well, I wanted strippers, not prudes. You want to talk big man, huh? You want to be big man? Whoa, okay, I think I need to explain something to you, okay?
The real punch of this South Park episode comes when Alonzo Finesse finally shows his true colors. Randy Marsh ranting about masculinity and trying to prove he's not washed up. But then, South Park goes full savage. Alonzo doesn't just strut around with cigars and flashy lines. Number, he pulls a gun on Randy, straight up pulls a gun. It's not subtle. It's the writers making Tate's hyper-masculine, aggressive energy into a literal weapon. That's how South Park operates. They exaggerate reality until the metaphor smacks you right in the face.
Look, I'm just trying to combat the messages that the liberal left is putting out to young men about their male instincts being toxic.
And Randy, he doesn't back down. He doubles down. He starts parroting the exact kind of lines that made Tate blow up online. Young men are being shamed for their natural instincts. Masculinity is under attack. Word for word, it sounds like one of Tate's motivational clips. Except it's Randy Marsh, one of the most ridiculous characters on TV, saying it with desperation in his voice. That's the joke. That's the brilliance. You hear those words in Randy's mouth, and suddenly you realize how absurd they sound when stripped of the flashy cars and the social media edits.
You want a real party? Yeah! Truth is, I got a whole barn full of weed. I will.
Then comes the kicker. Alonzo Finesse nods like Tate would and says, "I'll call some friends." Let's throw a real party. That's South Park at its cruel best. They take Tate's obsession with being the ultimate party guy, the lifestyle coach, the alpha male, and they blow it up into a caricature. Suddenly, the real party spirals out of control. And just when Randy thinks he's living out the dream of every Tate disciple, the cops burst in. Guns drawn, they scream. That's Alonzo Finesse, the Romanian sex trafficker. It's brutal, savage, and perfectly timed. South Park didn't tiptoe around the headlines. They went straight for the jugular. In the middle of Tate's actual legal investigation in Romania, here's his animated stand-in being branded a trafficker on national TV. For fans of satire, that's a chef's kiss moment. For Tate, it had to sting. But here's the twist. Tate didn't lash out. He didn't threaten to sue. He didn't record a cigar-fueled rant about South Park being part of the Matrix. Instead, he tweeted, or at least someone tweeted for him. And what did the tweet say? "When I will be proven innocent, I look forward to help create the greatest South Park episode of all time."
All right, let's do this. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Check it out, guys!
The savage part? It wasn't even exaggerated. In real life, Tate really had been rotting in a Romanian cell for 3 months. No official charges, just investigations. That legal limbo became both his shield and his noose. Fans screamed, "Innocent." Critics said, if you're under investigation for trafficking, maybe don't film Victory Cigars on Twitter. And South Park, they boiled that whole debate into one single merciless punchline. Then the Romanian courts added more drama than any scriptwriter could. First, Tate begged for house arrest and got slapped down. Days later, an appeal magically flipped the decision. Suddenly, he's not behind bars. He's pacing in luxury confinement. For Tate, that felt like a win. For South Park, it was comedic gold. Dropping their parody at the exact moment, millions were refreshing headlines to see if the top G was still in jail. This wasn't satire in slow motion. It was a real-time cultural assassination. South Park didn't just parody Andrew Tate. They timed their hit to land right between his courtroom battles. That's why this episode didn't just sting, it humiliated.
Let's do the mail now. And free Top G used to just be something Josh posted on his Twitter, but now it's actually happened, Josh. Top G is free. It's a great day.
Top G, Andrew Tate, his brother, and 2 of his angels are released on house arrest from Bucharest jail amid investigation into alleged human trafficking, rape, and crime gang offences. They've been in jail now for 3 months.
This episode hit so hard because South Park took aim at Tate, and that's not all. They've roasted celebrities before. The difference here is the cultural divide Tate represents. For many, Tate isn't just a meme, he's a symbol. They see him as hope in a hopeless world. Someone telling them it's okay to chase wealth, power, and women at a time when most can't even afford rent. Data backs it up. More than 60% of Gen Z men in the UK say they follow at least one masculinity influencer. That's the audience Tate tapped into. Bugattis, cigars, fast money. He turned it into an identity.
Sorry, do you think you can walk?
No, I don't think so.
Sir, we think you've had too much to drink and we should probably take you to the hospital.
But critics see something very different. To them, Tate isn't handing out hope. He's selling an illusion. They argue that the Bugatti lifestyle isn't a roadmap, it's a mirage. That's the brilliance of South Park's approach. They didn't just mock Tate, they mocked the culture he created. They mocked the desperation of young men clinging to a man who promises them freedom while he himself is trapped in a Romanian investigation. They mocked the idea that masculinity needs to be defended by throwing wild parties and flashing cars. And in doing so, they landed a hit that went way beyond a joke. It became cultural commentary wrapped in crude humor.
Young men false hope. I think he's been quite inspiring for young men, and he's given a voice to, we're all told masculinity is evil, and obviously the reason he's done so well is he gives another side and says maybe it's not inherently evil to be a man.
So, when people say South Park destroyed Andrew Tate in this episode, it's not an exaggeration. They turned his brand into a punchline, his philosophy into a parody, and his fan base into background jokes. And somehow, Tate responded by calling it a dream come true. From flashy Bugattis to being trapped under Romanian house arrest, Andrew Tate's story was already wild, but South Park just cemented it into legend. When you get turned into a character on South Park, that's not parody anymore. That's cultural checkmate. And the big question now is simple. Did the show go too easy on Tate, or was this just the opening shot in their most brutal roast yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if Alonzo Finesse made you laugh, and subscribe for more deep dives into where pop culture collides with cold reality.